Yo! What's up, people? I was sitting here trying to fix this daggone microphone, and I didn't even notice that it was time. Hold on, am I unmuted? I'm unmuted. Yes, I see that there's little things, so I think that means you all can see me. All right, so what I want to do right now is go see, did it actually send out the tweet that says I'm live? Yes, it does. Let's program some stuff and learn together, and you can all watch me flail and feel better about your lives and abilities as programmers. It's so true. Oh, hold on, my light's not on. Hey! Hi, everybody. All right, so we're working on Vue today, so let's go open up our notes about what we're working on. Oh, first thing I need to do is turn off my calendar alarms so that they're not all popping in our way. Okay, cool. So, full sharing. Here we go. What are we doing today? We are building the Vue component to check off that someone is done with a certain module. So if you're not familiar with onramp, that's what we're going to be working with right now. And I actually was just recently trying to work on a test because I noticed that there was some other problem there. But so you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to commit that because we don't need to think about it right now. So test preferences routes. Push that up. And then what are we working on? Vue checkboxes. Nope, not get checkout. Get checkout -b mes Vue checkboxes. And what this says is we're going to create a new branch called Vue checkboxes. I realize I should zoom up a little bit for y'all. Never mind. Okay, cool. Good enough. So I think the tests are going to fail a little bit here. Yeah, that one test is going to fail, which is probably really going to bother me. I just made a really quick change earlier that I should have waited on, but that's okay. So we'll just know we got one failing test and one risky test because I was working on master, even though I shouldn't have been. So the goal for us here is when I'm logged in, I want to be able to go over to something and check off that something is done. We're going to start with resources and say, I have consumed that resource. That's going to be our first thing we do. All right, we're once again on the struggle bus train. I really want this over here, but it keeps hitting me in the face. So let's just see how this treats us. Let me know if the audio has any trouble, everybody. All right. So what we're doing here is, and I actually think we have these set as to-dos already. So let's go take a look at the resource in here. So let's get out of here, and go back to where we were. So I think we are going to be on the module show page, and we first want to go, here you go, there's that checkbox, okay? So we're not going to do skills first, we're going to do resources first. So right here, where's the resource? Oh, it's the partials resource and module page. Now, normally I would have tried to go and do a little bit of thinking ahead of time, but I sure didn't because I was totally booked in things right up into when we did this. So this is not in my brain right now. So you will all see how I flounder when I try to return to Vue after not writing Vue for a while. So the checkboxes are there, but they're not actually doing anything, right? And we want somebody to be able to check something off here and say, I have consumed that piece of content, and I want to remember that for later so that I don't go reconsume it again later. So let's imagine what we're going to do here. We're going to replace this checkbox with a Vue component that is a checkbox. It will take certain properties, probably what type of thing you're checking off, what is its native or its default value, and then what's its ID. And then it will, on change, basically send that call over. It's going to be challenging because I always remember that binding handlers on native checkboxes is actually difficult. So what we're probably going to do to avoid that is not use a native checkbox, but instead use something that looks like it, because I remember that has gotten me stuck before. So let's build this component, and what we're going to do is basically, so resources, JS components. This is where your components live. and you basically often will just kind of copy one of your existing ones because it's already there to your new one. So we're going to name this as, I don't know if I want to call it consumed. I can't even remember what the phrase is that we actually use in the code. Does anybody know? Oop, I don't know what just happened there. What's the actual flag on the thing? Completed, maybe? Because it's not going to be on the resource itself. It's going to be on the relationship between the user and the resource. Completion. Okay, so we're going to call this completed checkbox, maybe, I guess. .view. All right, and then completed checkbox .view. We're going to get rid of all this stuff because we don't need all that. We don't have any methods right now. Actually, toggle is actually probably going to be I've said this before, but you all can see when I write Vue that I understand how it works, but I really don't work with it on a day-to-day basis because there's a lot of things where I say, well, I know it should be blah, 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 but I just, the last time I sat down and wrote brand new Vue component from scratch was, when I wrote this last one. I write Laravel every day, but there's seldom been a moment in my life where I write Vue every day for longer than a couple days maybe. All right, so it's nothing to do with this. So let's actually just start here. What are we building? We're building a div that looks one way if it's completed and a different way if it's not completed. And when you click on it, oh my God, come on. Looks another way when you click on it. So @click equals toggle. And then this can be basically is completed. Let's just do that for now. Simplest possible way to think about it, right? And then this is not going to be is open, but is completed. All right, so let's see. I guess I probably need to actually bind it. Resources app.js, which kind of makes me wish that we had done the thing where you just work through the whole directory. No, I won't do that right now. Probably will later though. All right, so what is this named? Completed checkbox. And then we have to bind it down in the components thing down here. Hey, Valdene? I don't know how to say your name correctly. Completed checkbox. Completed checkbox. Okay, cool. So we're binding it in there. We may have to restart the npm run watch. I'm never quite sure how they want that to happen. And then we actually need to reference it here. So this is going to be completed checkbox, and we're going to pass some props, but right now we don't need to worry about them. So let's just take a look and see how it treats us. Probably not found. Need to change in the name of the import as well. Oh, I thought I did. Thank you. Oh my goodness. In the import complete checkbox from components complete checkbox. I did. Is that what you mean? Hey Matt, any specific reason why you rewrote the is completed flag in the data? You can use the one from the prop directly. You can only use the one from the prop directory directly if you're not going to modify it. We're going to have a separate. So the data is completed and the prop is completed. I actually think we'll have to maybe make them different names. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Again, this is one of these things where I can't remember exactly how to define it. I'm just going to do this right now. Because it's just, again, Vue is stuff that it exists in my brain, but it's not readily up at the front. Time for some Vue fun. Yes, sir. My bad, I misread. No worries, John. So I know that there are people here who use Vue more regularly than I do, so you all can please feel free to just tell me when I'm off. So this dot props, yeah, they can't yeah. So let's call this. I think there's a pattern that people tend to use, and it's not this initial is completed, but I can't remember what the pattern is, like the canonical pattern. So we're just going to start with initial, but I very much feel like I'm showing my relative lack of daily comfort with Vue here. So type boolean retire to make an event that will notify the parent. Yeah, but I that's not my favorite way to do it. All right, thank you for subscribing, Mayank Aswathi. Synthesy, yeah, so there's different ways to handle it, but I prefer to do what I think of as a little bit more old school Vue, meaning using sync rather than worrying about event passing, because I think it's a lot easier for newcomers to understand, and the goal of this code base is to be as simple as possible for newcomers. So, all right, so props initial is completed, type string. Oh, I don't want a string when a boolean. Oh, you said, yeah, boolean later. It's weird to me that that's capitalized, so I'm going to assume it's not supposed to be capitalized. Default false. Let's try that. Okay, so I don't know if this is the correct way to do it. Initial. I feel like there's a different Vue way of passing the initial one and naming it, and it's not initial. So if anybody knows off the top of your head, let me know. So, but basically what you do is as soon as the thing mounts, it says, give me this. However, it's saying that it can't read initials completed off of empty, so it must not be this props. It might be this dot that you're supposed to read it from. So let's just see what we get. And a type check failed. Expected boolean got string the value. So I assume that this would be like do it like this, so it treats it like JavaScript instead of treating it like a string. Yeah, okay, cool. For this one, let's assume at click equals toggle. So maybe if I just click it, hey, there you go. Look at that. So what we want to do here is in the toggle, we also then want to basically update it. Ooh, what just happened? Okay. Axios. There we go. That's kind of what we're working with here. So let's make it look a little bit more like we want it to work first. So I think that's what it is inline block. And then done, ship it, yes. This is not, is it inline maybe? Or is it the parent div that's the problem? It's probably the parent div that's actually the problem. Okay, let's shrink this down a little bit. Yeah, it's this one. All right, cool. Who needs fancy checkboxes? There you go. Oh yeah, that's a great user interface there. I forget exactly what the cursor is that it wants there. So obviously we don't want this. What we want is something like this. And I think you can do actually a string class and then also a bound class here like this. And then this would be something like background red is whether or not it is completed. I feel like this is wrong, but I'm not 100% sure why. So let's just try it and see if it works. Oh, just give me something before I set up the width. Yep, that ain't right. Okay, background red needs to be quotes. Yeah, I got that. Maybe background red 500 because of the way they changed it in the newer versions of Tailwind. It's getting it, background red, so it must be BG red 500. Ugh. There you go, BG red 500. Cool. So that's what we're looking for. V Mitchell B. Yeah, you all are getting it's less lag than it used to be, but you all are definitely still getting some lag. Just enough lag that I catch it like a second before you type. No, that's fine. No worries at all. All right, so what do we have here? We've got a div that does click handling. It sets its basic styles. It depends its style a little bit based on whether or not it's completed. Thanks for following, Guide Kidmo. And then finally we end up here, and I remember that I never remember what the appropriate indentation style is for Vue, but again, whatever. We've got the basics here. Okay, the cursor hand is wrong. Thanks for following, Pete Bernardo. So let's go real quick, go to the Tailwind CSS docs and look for cursor options and see what we get. Cursor pointer, not hand. John Sugar, you're right, but you're half a second too late. All right, cool. So it starts to feel like what we want. And then how many times have you rebuilt native UI for checkboxes in CSS? I hate doing this, and I hate that I do this, but I'm always happy that I did it eventually. So what I need to do is just get like a like a reusable Tailwind CSS plugin, so I can have checkbox available to me. So we'll want border, and then we don't actually want it to be red. I think it's friggin' GRAY. And then we want to set the width of something and the height of something, but I don't totally remember. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, good. So let's give ourselves a border gray. Which one's heavier or darker? Nope, not 200. 800? Okay, 600. All right, starting to feel a little bit more like it's supposed to be. I want to spend some time making it better, but I kind of think that might be better spent later. So style the checkboxes better. Things we did, build a basic component for checkbox. Just UI, no Axios. All right, darker equals higher, thanks. Custom forms. Yeah, I've actually seen that custom forms one, but I've never worked for it before. Does it have one for this? I think this is styling existing checkboxes though, isn't it? But I would love to just go in and steal the CSS for this right here. So if anybody, including you, God Kim, or anyone else, if anybody is looking at this and just can go grab the classes to get this checkbox styled and just paste it into me in the chat, I would love that. Or just a link to it or whatever. Okay, cool. So we've got our basic thing. We pass in the initial property of is completed. We type check it. We set a default. And then we assign it to a data prop, which means our data, which means we can work with it. We have a toggle method that flips it. And now we need to use Axios here. So we want to import Axios. Wait, do we have a global Axios already? We might. Let's go look. Yeah, we already have a global Axios. So let's do that. All right, so where do we want to post? I don't think we have a method to do this yet, so a route. So let's go build a route and adjust our microphones and let's go do something real quick. Fix the microphone so it's not always swinging back into my face. Okay. So we want to hit a route and we want to post the current state of this. So this is not a preference, so it's going to be something new. So let's go take a look at our current route structure and try to figure out, is there anything here that would suggest to us where to store this? We're basically building an internal API. Tailwindcomponents.com/component/checkbox. All right, let's take a look at it. Oh, so this is not the same one, but it's something somebody built. That's okay. I kind of prefer the one in the forms one earlier because it feels more like a native one. Why is it scaled 61%? Give it to me. Oh, because it was on XL. This one I don't like because I thanks for linking that, Vince. I don't. This doesn't feel. This feels too far from the native state for me. Forms one is a native one, but doesn't seem to be built with classes. Okay, yeah. So we can at least use the forms one as a reference. So let's just grab. Oops, I keep going the wrong. Let's grab this and just say like this. Cool. All right. So let's go back to what we were doing. We were figuring out where we're going to store, we're going to post this over to. So we're going to say type equals type. And then we're going to say is completed. Is this dot is completed. And then we're going to say ID equals this dot ID. And so that means we now also need to be pulling in the type and the ID because we need these checkboxes on other things. So because this checkbox isn't just going to be for resources, it also can be for skills and modules. So let's say type and then ID. I think that's going to be enough for us. So in here, we need to pass in well, we need to pass in the correct is completed, which we don't have yet. And then we need to pass in the, oh, this right here tells us whether it's completed, right here. All right, so does my completed resources contain this particular ID? Oop. I think that's going to be good enough. And then what else we need? We need type equals resource, and then ID equals, wait, hold on. ID equals resource ID. Custom form setup config easy. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, there's an image here. I would rather not use a plugin. I would rather just have it. This right here, I believe, if I'm correct, is styling your native checkboxes, which I don't want to do. I instead want to use CSS to style a div to look sort of like a checkbox. Normally, I'm a big fan of using the native things, but not when I'm dealing with checkboxes in Vue, because there's always unexpected behavior when you're both doing click handling and checkbox things. And I have done it multiple times, so I know it's possible, but I also remember that I never ended up with code that I think would be simple for a beginner. And I want something that's simple for a beginner, and I think the best way to do that is use div, not checkboxes. So, all right, so we're going to pass in the type and the ID. So we're in the resource and the module page. So we have a type equals resource, we have ID equals resource ID. And now we're updating our Axios so that it passes over type ID and is completed. And hopefully that's going to be enough for now. So where is it going to pass it to? That's the thing we need to figure out. Also, I still feel kind of gross about the fact that we are passing in the English locale regardless of what locale a person's in. But in theory, it doesn't matter, but I'm still a little bit sketchy about that. So we might need to, let's actually do that. Refactor Axios calls to not have to manually pass English as locale, question mark. Okay, so, okay. Now, where are we going to store it? It is something about, I feel like it's user.completions dot, it's not really we're not really creating a completion because we could be deleting one. So we can either just have like a patch here, or we can like create or delete it depending on whether we think it's completed or not. I kind of like the patch idea where we're just saying, look, for this one right here, set it to this regardless of what it was set to previously. So I'm going to kind of, I think I'm going to do that. So there would be a, something like this. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this in the end. So let's just try it out and see what we think. Wait, what? Oh. All right, so completions controller is going to have nothing but a patch method. And I think my brain is not 100% today. I should have eaten 2 snacks beforehand instead of just 1 snack. So let's just see what we get in here. Oh, nothing. What did I break? I love that there's a wizard route. If you could make it also respond to a wizard emoji, that'd be great. All right, what is our error here? Are we getting a full page? No, those JSON translations are pretty monstrous there. Okay, we're getting a full page with full URL or full HTML. Why is it a white page of death? What did I break? Anybody know what I broke? Okay. I feel like it's something I screwed up in here. Or maybe in here, actually, now that I look at it. It's definitely Vue because it's doing that flash there. Okay, so what did I do wrong, everybody? I feel like there must be a typo in here that's generating. Let's do this. Initial is complete is blank. Type equals resource 8. But it is closed. So while it's not great, I feel like it shouldn't be erroring, but let's figure out why. I thought this would cast itself to a string. Let's just see if I was wrong here. Okay, so it's casting. Wow, so we just got a white screen of death purely because it was passing non-valid things in there. I expected we would have seen a console error if that was the case, but I guess not. Okay, so first thing we want to do is do this and take a look at what happens in our console, which is nothing. Is it not working correctly? It's not actually even, oh, because I commented it out. That would make sense. All right, take two. There you go. Completions. You take a look at what we did. It's sending it over. Oh my gosh, this. Okay, cool. It's sending over. Let's go further into here. We're seeing this payload. ID is 8, is completed as true, type equals resources. Exactly the way we wanted. And then we're getting back as die and dump on patch, which I'm sure is what I set in here. There we go. Cool. So let's assume that what we're going to do is basically say completion, which I believe I already created as an idea, although if that's the case, okay, cool. Creator update. So what do we have on our completion? Hopefully it's the exact same thing, type ID and is completed. That'd be awesome if I was just that internally consistent in my brain and how I created things. Let's see what we have. We've got a user, a completable. Okay, so we're not actually updating or deleting a completion. We're actually deleting a completion or creating a completion. So the question is, do we keep the view like it is here, where the view just says, hey, I'm sending a patch and that's it? Or do we make the view itself smart enough to be sending a create or a delete? I'm not sure which we're going to use. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure. We'll keep building it this way, and then if I think that it's better to actually make it so that the view is aware of what's going on, then we can do that. So what we do basically here is we're going to say if we're deleting, then ensure it doesn't exist. So we got our request here. You might note that I'm not super consistent about whether I, when I use the request helper or the request injected like this, and if you were to say that, hey, you're very inconsistent, I would say you're absolutely right. Uh-oh. Is my stream dead? The chat is dead. I'm a little nervous that means my stream might be dead because my internet might be dead. Okay, my internet seems to be working. So maybe it's just my chat that's dead, which would be sad, but nope. Okay, so chat's dead. Sorry everybody, no chat. Hopefully it will come back shortly. Oh, I can see you in the chat in the stream, but not in my chat user interface. I love those wizards. Stream is fine. You're still here. Chat's dead. Yeah, chat's dead in my chat interface. You know what I could do is I can go open up the Restream website, and just instead of using their chat app, I will use the chat browser directly from their website. So give me a second, everybody, to bring the chat back. Oh, Restream's website's not loading. Well, that would explain why the chat's dead. Oh, and now there you go. Failed to connect to chat server. Please try reloading the page. At least their Restream servers are working. All right, can you give me my chat? Open in browser. For future self, it is chat.restream.io/chat. Can't find supported chats. Yeah, I thought that. The chat app that they have is literally just the website embedded in like a downloaded thing. So sorry, everybody. I can't see your chats. I can see it over on my other monitor, which I will try and do my best to go look at as often as possible, so I still see chat things. So let me make OBS bigger so I can see you as often as possible. Okay, cool. So stream's fine. It did give a little red error. Okay, we are seeing the chats being posted above your head, at least Twitch ones. Yeah, so the thing is, the problem is I don't see that, but over on my other screen. On this screen, I got a restream chat, but it's a total fail. So anyway, okay, cool. Let's go back. So what I was doing here is saying, let's grab our request. So what are we getting? We're getting the input for my mic, driving me nuts, is completed. I think it's going to be a Boolean. YouTube chat seems to be dead. I guess it's back. I'm actually just going to do this. Sometimes I have trouble remembering whether it's going to, in any given moment, it's going to cast things to the Boolean or not. But here it did. It's complete is true. Great. So we can say if request is completed, delete completion, else. Hopefully I'll do this without the need for an else block. But basically else create completion. All right, so this will be, we're going to do creator update anyway, just in case the view is out of sync with reality, so that we're not accidentally creating multiples. So the Restream chat user interface is working, but now it's only pulling YouTube chats, not Twitch chats, just to keep it going. I'll enter it Titan as chief mic holder if you want. All I need to do is take 10 minutes next time and go redo the little tape I have wrapping it and keeping it from spinning, but I failed to do so. Also, just noticed, one of my lights is working and my other light's not working. Good Lord, everything is going wrong today. You know what's not going wrong? The holiday theme lights behind my couch. Oh, but I forgot to animate them this whole time. I was thinking that you were always seeing my wonderfully animated holiday lights. Here we go. Now you should see them being animated, even more fun. I can't believe when my lights, why is my light dead? Oh, now it decides to be on. This is just amateur hour over here. Okay, so we're creating a completion with a type. I think the completion itself is, let's go to our table plus. I think the completion itself is just polymorphic, so it's not going to be, excuse me. It's not going to be my like arbitrary named things, but it's actually going to be the normal polymorphic things. But I want to take a look at it real quick. Yep, it's polymorphic. So completable ID and completable type. I remember that we were talking last time, and there's a way to do it where Eloquent guesses these when you pass the thing in. So if anybody remembers what that is, let me know. Until now, I'm just going to do this. Hey, Aris. So this is going to be request input ID, and then this is going to be completable type. And interestingly, this is probably, I don't think I did a map, which means I think completable type needs to be stored as the PHP class. So I think this is going to have to, we're going to rewrite this in here from being something cute like resource to really being instead app/resource class, like that. I think that's what it's going to need to be. Or you know what we could do? Get class resource. Can you do the : class on an instance? Yeah, this is so weird. The chat is showing YouTube's, but not showing Twitch's. So let me go overlook at Twitch people. Forgetting all the important stuff. Oh my God, that's all I ever do is forget the important stuff. That's what my streams are, is forgetting important stuff. Jaffa cakes. I don't know what Jaffa cakes are, but I know what Marmite is. Okay, what are we doing here? Back to normal life, Matt. Here. Okay, so we are now going to get the type. There's a good chance that I rename ID and type to completable ID and completable type just to be more internally consistent. And then that might be everything we need. We probably need like the user ID as well. You know what? We can even pull that off the user, can't we? Or the request. User. I wonder if I can do ID like this. You can do it on auth. I don't think you can. Let's try this. Okay, so create a completion and then return JSON. All right, so this would be delete completion. So this would be completion where, I don't know why my brain is farting. Can you pass it in like this? Delete. Okay, so it's not showing up in the UI, but let's go see if it's showing up here. No. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is write a test against this. I'm really thinking this whole patch thing is pretty janky, so I think I'm going to want to recreate this to be a create and a delete. So let's just do it. Create, and then delete, and then we're going to make the view be responsible for parsing the difference. So if this dot is completed, this dot uncomplete, mark not completed. This dot mark completed, maybe. And then we'll have two routes that do that, basically. Sorry, chat, I don't see you on my screen. Does creator update? I think it's update or create. Yeah, it's totally possible. Your editor isn't liking some Laravel methods. Red underline. I tweeted about the other day. I can't click that link right now, Vince, unfortunately. Update or create, you pass array first. Yeah, totally. Thanks. My brain is so many different places right now. Although, why didn't we get an error on that? Because it definitely should have. Okay. So, mark completed. Also, Vince, I'm pretty sure that the underlines that we're seeing for everything is just because I have some T-lint things. Yep, that's what it is. So that might not be for everything, but at least for that one, that's a T-lint thing. Okay, I don't know what these are though. Undefined symbol route, a telefence. It seems like that's a VS Code. My telefence is doing it wrong. So Vince, if that is the problem that you were talking about and you have a fix, let me know. Mark not completed, but I can't click that tweet, so I'm not going to go over to it right now. Okay, baby steps here. What are we doing? We are going to user.completions.create. Actually, no, we can just post over to completion. Well, yeah, I think let's see, do it. All right, and then this is going to be the same thing, but we're going to Axios has a delete method, right? Like this. User.completions. I think the weird thing is we would need an ID there and a normal delete, but we don't have the ID for the completion. We just know how to build it. So again, we'll just try this. And then I feel like that's not the right way to do it in the end. So that's what I'm referencing. You got to be more specific, Vince. My brain is bouncing between 7 different things right now. Okay, so the delete one will be this. So that one should work. And then like Corey, I think it was, yeah, Corey mentioned it's not create or update, which is why this was something. It's update or create. And with update or create, you pass the first thing. This is the things that are basically what I should be using to figure out like what, basically update or create is like a where and then an update. And so the first thing you're passing is what it should use to look it up. And then the second thing is any additional parameters. But we don't actually want any additional parameters. It's really just if the thing doesn't, what we really want is just create if not exists. But I believe update or create is the right one for that. All right, chat. Sorry, everybody. Add intellifence.diagnosis.undefined symbols false to your settings. I'll fix the underlines. Okay, great. How do you use route in your Vue files? It is called Ziggy. And streaming, are you using Ziggy? Yeah, it's Ziggy for the routes. Okay, so I would love to have those things fixed, but I forget how to. I just switched to code, VS Code, if anybody doesn't know. How do you get into the one where instead of you're seeing the UI, you instead edit directly? Somebody let me know that while I do that. Slack in 2019, of course we use Slack. What on earth else would we use? What do you mean? What else even remotely compares to Slack for... All right, IntelliFence, fully qualified, uses, what was it called? Undefined symbols. So I'm supposed to turn it to false? Hopefully. Cool. Thanks, Vince. All right, so hopefully it will update that and then stop giving us these errors. Okay, cool. So we can get rid of these, and that'll get rid of one of our other errors, which doesn't like the fact that we're using a combination of RESTful and non-RESTful methods here. Slack eats 4 gigs. I mean, Slack is the best tool for the thing, so yeah, it might require reload. Thanks. It's the best tool for the job. So okay, let's go back here. This right here feels like we can do an extraction of some sort. I also don't know whether I like the fact that I'm naming these here, but let's just go with it. We're doing 10,000 things all at the same time right now, so I'd like to just get a couple of them finished and kind of slow our brains down a little bit here. Okay, so we're not going to do this anymore. This is going to be a post to completions and a delete to also just to completions. This is going to be create, or not create, going to be store, and then destroy, and then store, and then destroy. And then we're going to come over here, and this is going to be not create, but store. And then this is going to be destroy. Recent rewrite has made Slack live. Yeah, me too. So the weird thing is in a traditional destroy method, you would be destroying based on the ID that's passed in. So I'm a little wary about making it instead do it based on the passed in request, but we're just going to try this out real quick. And once we get settled on the content, the syntax here, then I will go write the test for it. So maybe that's enough for now. All right, so we should see our console saying, okay, user.completions.delete not found in the, oh, because it's destroy and .store. All right, take 2. Delete server error, that's fine. At least we're getting the right call. Server error, you made a typo in your dang code, Matt, when you were deleting things. You forgot a semicolon. All right, try it again. All right, we got no response, which means it probably worked, but that was the destroy one. Why did it run the destroy one? All right, this is a delete. Why is it hitting delete? I must have did the check there inverted. So that check is in here. If this is, oh, because this was supposed to happen like that. And actually, it's always a little bit of a question of whether you do these kind of switches before or after the UI is, or the call's done. If you do it before, it feels faster. If you do it after, it's more truthful. So we're just going to do it like this for now. Okay, so now it should be doing a create right there. Okay, great. So it should have done a create. So, hey, look at that. It works. So if I check it off, it's now created. Now let's see if I get rid of it. Oh, so the delete one's not working correctly. So again, this is a good time for us to make sure if the syntax is working correctly, it is now time for us to go write the tests rather than testing things by just clicking the same thing over and over and over again. I wonder whether you can't send a post body along with a delete call in Axios. Because if you notice here, our create one right here, we got that post body there, request payload, but our delete one of the same thing, we got no body there. And I bet that it's expecting that you're only going to pass along the ID. The problem is we don't have the ID of that completion here. We don't know what that is. All we know is it's just the completion relative to this type in this ID. So there's a couple different ways to do that. There, we can rewrite our URL structure for that, or we can just use a post to like a delete method. But man, I don't love that. Like, I really don't like that. Or like a post to like an uncompletion or something like that. I think this would work. Axios.delete. Well, that's, oh, you have to embed it in data? Why do we have to? Why would you have to put it in data, Vince? I believe you that you might be true. I don't know why you would need to. And then Sunny again. I'll get to your question there in a second. Why did that work? Hey, Zuzana. Why did that work, Vince? Teach me something here. Second parameter is an options. You can specify data. Oh, very cool. Vince Mitchell for the win. All right. The question that Sunny again asked was something I'll read in just a second. Okay, delete type / ID. Yeah, so the problem is once we start doing that, you have all the data you need to do that. Like if it were to be something like route delete completions / resources / 5, but that's a made up. It gives us the information, but it's not a very correctly structured thing. So clipping, gonna send that with my okay, cool. So it should work now. Yeah, it works now. So let's go test this. We just built it. Let's take a note about what we did. Update component to use Axios to post / delete to modify completions. For resources. All right. Don't forget to tell your future grandchildren. All right, so let's write a test for that now. Can the delete method look up the completion status by the user ID and if exists, delete? Yes, but that would be 2 database calls. The database calls would be if completion exists, then delete it. So you have to look it up and then you'd have to delete it. Whereas this one is always only one call. It says where this delete. If it doesn't match, it just doesn't delete it. And so this is a way for us to have a single call. The other one would be multiple calls sometimes and one call sometimes. This one's always one call. So now, obviously, we need to validate this. This is going to be one of the things that we test because right now you can just pass anything in and delete it, whereas we only want you to be able to do it if you are the authenticated user. So by pulling the user like this, you should only be able to do your own because the only things you're able to pass in is this ID and type. So there shouldn't ever be a creation. But in theory, I could create a completion here that is for something. Well, actually, no, I can't do that. Never mind. Because anyone can access any completable thing. So the only thing that's unique to this user is the user ID, and the user ID is getting pulled off the request. So actually, no, somebody couldn't fake this. I thought we had to do some tests there. Yep, no, Sunny, again, that's exactly what I was talking about. Delete completion / type / ID. You end up with a URL structure that is not something that really makes a ton of sense from a RESTful perspective. So it would get the information across, but I'd rather do it this way if possible. Granted, this thing right here where we're doing destroy, when we're not passing in the ID, that's a little bit wonky too, because in theory, it really should be completions / well, actually, does the completion even have a auto-incrementing ID? Yeah, so it should be basically / auto-incrementing ID, right? That's what it should be, like this. And so the fact that we're not doing this will make this is a little bit abnormal. So choosing to do it the way I did it, where we hit it here and then look for the post, or choosing to do it this other way they were thinking about, which is what Corey suggested, which is / ID. Both of these are, well, this is completable ID. Neither of those are perfect. And so in the end, to me, it was just kind of like, well, which one makes the most sense to my brain? And it's this one. But I don't think that I have like a strong reason why this is definitively better than doing it this way. So also, I just noticed everybody's chat are showing up in my chat UI as well. You could pass in the ID if it exists as a prop to view. The problem is if you've created it, we're now having to store the ID like after creating it on this thing. And I mean, so it's possible. To me, it's worse. It's a worse experience of working with Vue if we have to know the completions ID. So I prefer not knowing the completions ID and allowing the completion to just be identified by the combination of user, type, and ID. Speaking of that, I do think I want to rename these to be completable just so that we have less different ways of referring to the exact same concept. Let's just use the actual thing here. So completable type, completable ID, and I guess that means I got to do this then, huh? Blah, underscores. All right, big question of the day. Is his multi-select working? All right, look at us. And then Oh, I guess the is completed is not actually being passed at all. Look at that. We don't need it because it's being passed based on whether we're sending it to store or destroy. Okay. So first, let's try it in the UI. Does it work? And then let's go do that test. All right, what's our error? I'm sure I made a typo. Query exception, a completable ID cannot be null. Did I not? Completable ID. What's our input that we're passing across? Complete. Did I spell completable wrong? C-O-M-P-L-E-T-A-B-L-E. C-O-M-P-L-E-T-A-B-L-E. Did I typo? Did I not save? That could do it. Look at this. It just totally didn't save. That's all it was. You can hard code true, false. Where would I hard code true, false? All right. So I think this is good. So now let's go. We'll commit it and test it. All right. So this is. Hold on. Let's actually go over to GitHub. How can you use the onramp? The route method inside of Vue is because of Ziggy. Jake Bathman linked it above. GitHub.titan.co/ what? Sorry, github.com/titanco/Ziggy. Why on earth? It saved that settings with the undefined symbols in this project rather than globally. So friggin' VS Code. You don't need the type, just the ID. You have a separate controllers for the different types in Hargo. Nah, didn't cut at all. Okay, I'll keep going and hope that the YouTube one never cut at all. So, all right. I will have to go trim out the fact that my calendar just flashed on the screen for a second. So, okay, cool. All right, so yeah, I think I can like blur things out in the replay in YouTube as well. So, fun. YouTube post, YouTube delete. Okay, so I'm flustered because I accidentally turned off the dang stream instead of turning off studio mode. Okay, so what did we just do? Routes web. We can get rid of that. Okay, so we built out basic build out, not built out. Completions, logic, and checkbox view component. All right, so let's real quick write our test. Check out the Ziggy passage for passing in routes as props has its advantage too. I'm sure it does, but I love Ziggy. Okay, so we're gonna make a test that's called completions, and I'm really thinking of this as an API, so even though it's not technically an API, I'm just gonna call it that for my brain's sake. So right now I'm just gonna test the endpoint. I'm not gonna do a view-facing test, but we probably will bring in some Dusk at some point so that we can test. So one of the problems with testing just the endpoint is that if there's a typo in, for example, this right here, testing the resource won't actually solve that problem for you. So you need to either test your endpoint and your view independently or use something like Dusk to test this whole flow. So I'll probably end up using some Dusk, but not right now. Let's just test the endpoint for now. All right, so what are we testing? It completes a past in resource, something like that. All right, so what we want to do is basically this be factory user class create. Just realized I didn't use the user class. Okay. And then we are going to post to route like that. And then we're basically just grabbing these things here. So is it user.completions.store? And then we're just going to pass in that. So we got to make something we can actually complete. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Just accidentally closed down the entire stream and just can't type afterwards. Okay, so what are we working with? We're working with resource. And then okay, right. And then we want to assert, assert equals 1 completion count. Let's see what we get. Unexpected syntax error. I feel like it's in here. Factory. Yep. What do we got? No such table tracks. It's because we need to use refresh database. All right, one test, one assertion, good to go. All right, and then let's see if it deletes a passed in resources completion. All right, so let's create a completion. Actually, we can just do this right here. Since I use the same names. All right, create the one, and now we want to this delete user.completions.destroy, I think is what I named it, and then assert equals 0. Let's see what we get there. Okay, cool. And then finally, non-authenticated users cannot. Well, they can't even do it because they couldn't even pass in an ID at all. So it doesn't even matter to check that they can't do it because what would they do? Whatever. Delete completions. So let's have a user that's not us create a completion. Oh, when's my next call? I might have a call right now. I hope it's not right now. Please don't let it be right now. No, but it's in just a few minutes, so I gotta cut this short. The pedantic part of me says you should check completion count is 1 after you create. Yeah, technically, pedantically, yes, but I mean, sometimes I do that. What the heck? We can do that. It doesn't totally matter, but there's reasons why. Oop, it would have been here. Sorry. That is fine. Pedantic John. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're creating one for this user, but we are not this user. And then we are trying to delete it, and then we should still have 1. We should also get errors and all that kind of stuff, but we should at least make sure. Great. So let's just do our full test suite, and we have that same error we did at the beginning, so that's fine, because I was doing coding right before I got here. All right, so we've got some basic stuff. I think I need to cut it for today. So let's commit this really quick. Basically, test basic HTTP access to the completions API-ish routes. All right, and then we can go put that in Notion. Things we did, update component, write basic Get morph class. I knew there was something. Thank you, Clevin or Clevon. I knew there was something, and I could not remember for the life of me what it was. And I think you can even do like get morph ID as well. Get morph class is definitely the trick I was looking for. I appreciate it. I think I have a couple of those actually. Let's grab all of them. Yep. I think we even did that. I even did that in a previous stream, and then had just completely forgotten to what it was. I had fun helping. Catch you next time. Thanks, Vince. Okay, cool. So switch from get class to get morph class. Back to Notion, write basic tests around completions endpoints. Saw checkbox better, fix the microphone, refactor, not have, yeah. Perfect. Great work. We made a Vue component and people can now check off when something is or is not done. That is something we've been waiting on for quite a while. I'm really, really, really happy that we have this now. So great work, team. Next time we will probably allow for completing skills and modules, and I think that's it. And then basically audit current state of seeding data so we can, once users can check off resources, etc., make sure we never again wipe the original resources, etc., so the IDs don't get out of sync. Because right now I can wipe and reseed all the time just on those particular things, and that's not going to be the case going forward. So, well, thank you everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that I'll be able to get these up on YouTube again correctly later. Yeah, you're all great, except for that one guy. He's not great, but all the rest of you, you're great. If you didn't have to be banned today, you're great. All right.